deep dive into the very beginning of the game. So we're going to backtrack just a little bit to show Samus's free movement here. So like I just spent a few missiles, so I'm going to use this interactive here to replenish. But one of the things I want to show here is free aim, which for those that have played Metroid Samus Returns, this has made a comeback. You can see a lot of the area around as you use it. Also has this little tracking system that when it's targeting an enemy, it'll make that sound.
I want to take a moment to say that, as Nate and Sakamoto-san already mentioned, this is the first new 2D Metroid game in 19 years. That's almost 2 decades. I don't know if you did the math, but that's a lot of years. We've been waiting for this for a long time, so we're really excited to be finally showing this to everyone.
Here's another returning move from Metroid Samus Returns, which is the melee counter. One of my favorite features. And then a new one is, or the development of the melee counter. Whoop. I'm gonna let that guy move a little bit back. Come back. The melee dash. I really love that because it doesn't break momentum. I can immediately do a counter and immediate damage to an enemy.
Yeah, something this game does really well is improve upon the improvements from Metroid Samus Returns. So like you mentioned, we had free aim and the melee counter in that game. And here we have the running free aim, which gives you even more freedom, and the dash melee. So instead of having to stand still and wait for enemies to attack you, you can just go get them, which really has great movement to this game.
Yeah, I love that. Like, Samus moves so well, and it's just all that freedom. It's just, this is probably the smoothest I've been able to control Samus in a really long time.
Absolutely, and you've opened up the map screen here, something that Metroid fans know to love and adore.
Yeah.
The map system is just as important in this game as ever, and it really shows you the classic Metroid gameplay progression, which is back in full force in this game, where you look at your map, you identify areas that you haven't been to yet or aren't able to access yet. You try and find another way through, find a new ability, push your way forward, fill in the map, lather, rinse, repeat. So that's back and better than ever, in my opinion.
Yeah, and this area here is blinking white because there's something here that I haven't discovered yet. So I could use markers to kind of pinpoint it just in case I don't have an ability. And I have to backtrack here once I'm able to explore it.
Yeah, don't sleep on those markers. Those can be really important in this labyrinthine world.
Sure. Right. But this looks curious.
It is really a part of the charm of Metroid, though, having this renewed sense of purpose in your backtracking paired with pushing forward.
Yeah, another thing I want to pinpoint is the amount of work the dev team put in Samus's animations. Like, just her animation of gripping the walls when she can't move, or like holding onto the ledge. It's just so
looking
smooth.
around.
Yeah, you'll notice little touches everywhere, so keep an eye out for them.
Oh.
That seamless transition to these sort of story scenes is great.
Little moments like this, when you're in helmet view for a moment, really add to the isolation and the tone of this game.
Yeah, no, this game is a sequel to Metroid Fusion, but you can see that her suit looks a little bit different than that, so that'll be a story element that people will find out what happened when they play the game. We don't want to spoil too much.
So these are the Emi that Sakamoto-san was talking about, and none of Samus's weapons seem to do anything against them. So
Run.
yep. Oh, that slide move is so cool.
She looks so cool when she's sliding.
Yep, it is. Nope. Okay.
Oh no, just no.
Yeah.
Oh gosh.
Missiles don't work either. Oh my gosh.
So
scary.
About this being called Dread, that would be why.
They're very relentless.
Oh my. Oh wow. Okay. did a little reach for me there.
Yeah.
That was new.
Oh.
Yeah.
That one's clearly not well, but it's still quite frightening.
Yeah. I'm glad that it's a bit damaged and can't completely reach to me, but we're going to have to find a different way to tackle that enemy.
This thing is a central unit which controls various areas of the planet. It's sort of a biomechanical computer, kind of a homage to maybe similar units in previous Metroid games. And from this unit, Samus can power up, get a temporary power up for her arm cannon and turn it into the Omega cannon.
Yeah, so in typical 2D Metroid fashion, we've always seen the camera panned around here, and now with the Omega cannon ability, there's this dynamic camera that you get to see over Samus's shoulder, which is so cool.
Yeah, little additions like that really flesh out the classic 2D gameplay without it feeling like it strays too far from what we loved about it.
Mm-hmm. Just makes it seem really powerful.
Mm-hmm. Right. Let's see if this works against our Emmy friend here.
Takes a little while to charge up, so
it does.
Don't wait too long.
Okay.
You did it.
Oh,
I wanted to make sure I had it line of sight.
I hope you enjoyed that. That's your one shot at it.
Yeah, so it was so powerful that in order to take that Emmy down, we lose the ability of the Omega cannon, and it goes back to a regular arm cannon.
It was worth it, though. We can breathe easy now.
It was.
For a moment. I also want to point out while you're scrolling your way through all of these different halls that there are so many different ways to play this game. Like Teresa is amazing with a missile. She's the queen of the missiles, but you can also just shoot your regular arm cannon. You can try and avoid enemies altogether, try and hit them all. Really, it's up to you what kind of Samus you want to be.
Yeah, and as Audrey pointed out too earlier, that you could use free aim to do more like line of sight shooting, but you could also just free aim shoot while you're moving as well.
It's good because you need to shoot a lot of different things in this game.
So many different things. I want to see a pixelated door, and now I'm filled with dread.
Yeah, this is a new entryway.
Yep, these are the entries to the various zones that the Emmy are patrolling. And once you're in there, you need to be on the lookout for those.
Yeah, you can hear in the background, the music is so atmospheric. It really puts you on pins and needles just listening to it.
Very... I am completely on edge because it's like really eerie. Can't seem to climb these yet.
Not yet. Yeah, just the detail in the backgrounds and things is great. Oh, and there it is.
Now, especially during moments like this, you can really appreciate how cool it is to have an HD 2D Metroid game.
We tried that already, Sam. It's not going to work.
Hey, it was worth a shot.
Just try again. Maybe it'll work on this one.
Now run.
So luckily, this Emmy can't go through typed spaces. So I have an advantage here.
Somehow Emmy doesn't seem worried.
Oh, okay.
Oh, it's fast.
Oh, you're following me.
I see. Okay, you gotta get away from that. That's my recommendation.
Yeah, when they go into this patrol mode and turn red, the door locks until they sort of lose track of you.
It's still trying to get at her.
Oh yeah, it's still looking around, but...
Ooh.
Find another way to get to me.
Yeah.
Also, I don't know if it's my heart throbbing through my hands or if the controller, but it's pretty nerve-wracking when facing the Emmy. They're terrifying species.
Yeah, T makes it seem like she's calm, cool, collected, and badass. I like to pretend that she's actually as nervous as I am when I play it, but I don't think it's true.
I do want to point out, also the backgrounds, the amount of detail that the development team has put into, not just the enemies in the forefront, but also in the background. I don't know if you guys can tell the shimmering thing in there.
Oh, there it's moving.
It's
Okay.
flashing.
That doesn't bode well.
Yeah, well, probably. Note that for the future.
Yeah, some of those details kind of tell the story as effectively as, a voiceover or anything.
Yeah, if you want to be a bounty hunter, you have to pay attention to details.
Mm-hmm.
And watch out for gooey enemies. This is morbid. I love the detail of like the rib cage in the background. You just know something went down there.
Mm-hmm.
So, the thing about Metroid enemies too is that some of them have patterns and you can counter them, and others don't, like this one. So I'm just gonna
Just blast him.
move him out of the way so I can use it. And this room is a communication room with Adam, who happens to be Samus's ship's PC or computer. We're going to skip this part here just because we don't want to spoil any of the lore. But Dan, if you could summarize for the folks at home.
Yeah, so as Samus is exploring, she uploads data to Adam, their ship's AI, and Adam kind of gives little analysis, just really hints, though, not necessarily telling you where to go or anything like that. It's still up to you to kind of explore. But there's some interesting lore in there, and some little hints that you can potentially use. And in that one, Adam was basically summarizing the ME and kind of the limits that they have of patrolling a zone, and also how dangerous they are, which we've kind of seen, but hopefully we won't see too much firsthand here.
Also, you can see T doing a great job of just shooting at the environment, looking for secrets, looking for a way forward, because it's not always going to be obvious. You really have to. It's like a puzzle. It's not just action. It's not just exploration. There's also a lot of puzzle elements here, trying to find the way forward.
Yeah, and it's really cool too how Metroid Dread does this really sweet balance of the moments where you're allowed to have like some quiet to solve the puzzles, and then it's interspersed with this really heavy, intense action.
Yeah.
So here's the nope. That was the Emmy, as Dan had mentioned. They have kind of three modes. One is the surveillance. The other is which is marked with blue. They're just scanning the area. This red mode's so
Bad
intense.
one.
I'm like
Yeah,
playing a game of chase with
So
it.
fast.
With it. Oh god. And then when it has Samus on eyesight, it turns red, which is the chase mode.
Oh, her.
Yeah. So yellow is it's heard a noise or sensed a vibration, and it's going to go investigate that.
Oh.
Oh,
Oh gosh. No.
and
No.
Oh.
So the Emmy are pretty relentless and ruthless. It is sort of like a permadeath, which is very unusual for enemies with in the Metroid series. But luckily, it's not very. The game's pretty forgiving. It allows you to respawn at an area that you were in recently, so we're able to just go back and counter that again.
Yeah, as T said, insta-kill is new to the series, but it's really great because it offers a chance for you to have that challenging difficulty that I think Metroid fans expect, but without being quite so punishing with the respawning that you just have to play the whole game to get back to where you are. So it's a really wonderful balance.
Yeah, and when the Emmy are in patrol mode, which is that right now, it's in pursuit of me. They're scanning areas where they last sensed movement, and so they'll go and investigate it. And then if they see something in eyesight, then they'll go chase it.
This is such a small but really neat touch, the way that Samus moves slower in the water.
Yeah, and the audio change too.
Yeah.
I absolutely love that detail.
Always, there's always one little guy.
That one straggler there. I don't need a save. I'm feeling brave.
Oh,
dash.
nice dash meleeing. See, that really shows how you don't have to stop to fight these enemies. If you really master that dash melee, you can just kind of run and gun.
Mm-hmm.
Little water puzzle.
Yeah.
Really love the animation of the water flowing from one area to the next. Such a cool detail.
Yep. Now that the water levels changed, you have access to other areas.
And here is a map room. So interacting with these rooms will grant me more visibility to the area that I'm currently in. So we sort of lightly touched on the narrative of this game, which occurs in the events post Metroid Fusion, and so that's why Samus's look looks different. But also to point out, back to Audrey's point about, the game is about exploration and action, and so this area map upgrade allowed me to see more about the map, but you can see that there's still a lot of obscurity here, and so you need to explore in order to uncover more of the area and also any secrets involved. So
yeah, it's also worth noting that this series and this game is full of really juicy lore. So whether you're a new or returning Metroid fan, if you've never played a Metroid game before, it really gets you up to speed with anything you need to know to enjoy the story. And if you are a longtime Metroid fan, you have a lot to look forward to. As Sakamoto-san said, this concludes the story arc between Samus and the Metroids. So we've been waiting a long time for this, and it delivers.
It's that little enemy that Teresa just blew up. It's kind of like an item pinata. It gives you a lot of missiles.
yeah, defeating enemies is definitely a boon because it grants you replenishment for energy and also missiles. So definitely want to defeat enemies for that.
Yeah.
I just didn't expect the Emmy to be right on top of me when I destroy the Autols.
That little beeping sound, I hear it in my nightmares now.
They always come up with
He's persistent. It's persistent.
very inconvenient.
Another interesting detail about this game is normally in Metroid games, you start at the surface of the planet and you work your way deeper. But in this game, you actually start deep within the planet and try and work your way to the surface. And so that yearning towards ascension really adds to the tone of this game as well.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that was a sick slide.
Oh, I think it's like-
I also love that you don't have to necessarily wait for an enemy to attack in order to counter in this game. If you keep an eye out, you can actually sometimes counter before they start their attack.
Here's a throwback. So I have to use a missile in order to destroy that cover, and then I'm able to access that door.
Just one missile, though. That's good. Oh, of course.
There you go.
Yeah.
I got it.
Yeah. That's the other thing about the dash melee is that if you use that on an enemy, you will get, I think, a few more extra items.
Here's our first upgrade, the charge beam. So very iconic to the Metroid series. So Samus, starts off without any abilities and slowly becomes more powerful and able to tackle stronger foes, but also be able to uncover or explore new areas that you weren't able to before.
Yeah, and suit upgrades are another classic part of Metroid gameplay that is alive and well in this game. I also love you can see, if you keep an eye on the background and stuff, there are all kind of cool statues and architecture that really piques your curiosity about the lore of this world.
Nice.
I love that too. Using the charge beam to make a charge beam spin attack and defeat some of those enemies is really handy.
Oh, that feels good.
Got some more life, which is always a plus for me. Need that. Yeah.
Nice. Yeah, look at all those items.
Yeah, he's doing a great job of showing that once you really get to know these abilities and become adept at them, you start to feel like Samus. At first you're like, maybe not quite there, but once you get the hang of it, you really start to feel like a badass bounty hunter.
Yeah, it's just so smooth. It's like she's parkouring through this.
Woo.
There's more great architecture. But we're not here to look at architecture. We're here to shoot things.
And explore.
Yes.
Open doors.
So now we can't go through this area because of the water, so we're not able to slide. But we are able to access this door that we weren't to before. And here's another Emmy door. But in order to not spoil any more surprises here, we're going to leave this as a cliffhanger and end our segment here.
All right. Well, that's all we've got on Metroid Dread for now.